Most think this is a tale of betrayal. It is not. A desolate church gasps in golden haze, its stained glass shattered, altars slick with ancient blood. The fog gate stirs cold against the Erdtree's fever. Here, Pontiff Sulyvahn knelt not to worship but to sever. The living vessel planted after Placidusac's age had curdled in Marika's absence. His heresy, a blade to the root, not a crown. The gate rises, the silence screams. A blade to the root. Pontiff Sulyvahn the Usurper, his mask hides a face once devoted to the Erdtree. Godfrey's banishment proved the old gods dead, their faith a hollow rite. He struck not for power but to sever the poisoned root. The Erdtree accepts the worthy dead, it rejects the rot. His blade was a requiem. This is not a duel, this is a funeral. The church silence screams its complicity. A pontiff's robes, a regicide sin. The Erdtree's heart could not be purifiedly buried. The pontiff's hands once traced the Erdtree's bark with reverence, each callus a psalm, each scar a hymn. He fed it incense and scripture. He buried the faithful at its roots, as the burial watchdogs had ordained until the tree spat their bones back, bleached and hollow. The Erdtree * chose * its dead. This was no mercy, it was a cull. Sulyvahn found the proof in the relics, a golden seed that withered in his palm, a knight's armor left rusting beneath the canopy, untouched by decay. The church called it divine selection. He saw a festering wound. Godfrey's banishment had already cracked his faith, the first martyr cast out for defying Marika's ascension. Sulyvahn had wept when the exiled king's statue was shattered, its fragments scattered like ash. Yet here was the truth, the Erdtree itself was the heretic. It hoarded life while rotting the soul of the world. The pontiff's robes grew heavy with the stench of rot he could not name. At night he lit candles to Godfrey's effigy, their wax pooling into shapes that resembled roots twisted, grasping, black. The burial watchdog's chants echoed in his mind. Not all who die are welcomed, not all who sleep are fed. The Erdtree's heart was a lie. A parasite masquerading as a god, Sulyvahn's faith did not die here. It burned. He would not kill the tree, he would unmake its poison. Let the world mourn. Let the church curse his name. The Erdtree's heart could not be purifiedly buried, and so he became the executioner of his own salvation. The pontiff's hands, once steady with prayer, now trembled with purpose. The fog gate was not a theft, it was a requiem. The fog gate parted not on faith but on fury. Sulyvahn's feet sank into ash where the Erdtree's roots should have pulsed with gold. He felt at first a cold hum in his molars, a vibration like the world itself was grinding its teeth. The canopy above, once a cathedral of light, now wept ichor. Its leaves hung curled, desiccated husks of what had been living flame. And there beneath the bark's fractured chest the heart, not a thing to cut but a wound that bled time. A pulsing miasma of old gods' regrets, thick enough to choke the breath from stone. He knelt, the rot recognized him. It hissed in tongues older than Godfrey's sword, voices that peeled back his skin to the bone of his purpose. You are the knife, it hissed. You are the wound. His own blood began to bubble, blackening where it met the soil. The church's prayers, the incense, the gilded hymn saw lies layered over this festering core. Divinity had never been pure, it had only ever been patient. He chose the blade. Not for power, but to sever the leash that bound the world to a dying god. The coup was a scream into the void, a gesture of faith in the possibility of nothing. The Erdtree's collapse would be his requiem, his atonement. But the rot fought back, it crawled into his veins, turned his sermons to smoke, his followers to shadows. The age of fire did not fadate, was drowned, smothered by the weight of what had seen. The church called him heretic. They did not understand, all endings are earned through grief. His hands, once steady with prayer, now clawed at a sky that refused to weep. The fog gate was not a theft, it was a requiem, and the Erdtree, it waited patient for the final cut. The Church of Godfrey is a cathedral of ruin. Broken saints clutch rusted keys. Stained glass shows the Erdtree's planting roots in ash, not soil. At the altar, golden light trembles, a breath before extinction. Pontiff Sulyvahn did not seek a throne, he sought a scalpel. The Erdtree, he knew, had never healed. Its golden haze masked a wound, the crucible's poison seeping since the planting. To save it, he had to let it burn. The faithful called it heresy. They saw only the coup, the stolen regalia, the shattered hymns. but Sulyvahn's blade aimed not at the tree but at its shadow. The Erdtree accepts some dead. It rejects others. He believed the rot had to die first. The altar's light falters. A saint's head lies cracked, its face still upturned. This was the first strike in a war of purges. The Erdtree waited, it still waits, for the cut that might finally, mercifully, end the waiting. 208 words. Ira at mimicry of the still waits, grace's benediction. Incense curls where light strikes stone, masking the stench of rot beneath the altar. His voice, when it comes, is a hymn of fractured faith. Asterisk by the first flame's dying breath, I cleanse what Godfrey could not. Asterisk the demigods pause, their shard-wreathed weapons hovering mid-strike. For a moment the Erdtree's shadows lean closer, then Sulyvahn's arm trembles. The light cracks, revealing a void within its gilded shell. A fissure like the one in Marika's heart, the same hollow ache that birthed the undead curse when the first flame waned. His second strike mimics the rite of the Erdtree, fingers splayed as if distributing golden seeds, but the seeds are ash. They scatter into the wind, choking the sacred grove. The demigods recoil not from heresy, but from recognition. They see the truth in his staggered gait. He walks not as a pontiff, but a dying man. A man who knows the tree's whispered plea is not a prayer, but a dirge. Asterisk save me or let me die. Asterisk the words hang, heavy as the regalia he cannot lift alone. His golden robes drag, weighted by the church's silent anathema. No acolyte follows, no bell tolls. Only the dry rustle of leaves, brittle with the poison he seeks to spill. The demigods lunge, their shards scream, tearing his illusion apart. Yet in the chaos, Sulyvahn smiles. Let them fight for Elden's fragments. Let them mistake his purge for madness. The Erdtree's heart does not beat it. Asterisk burns asterisk, a wound that refuses to close. And he, the usurper, is its only surgeon, the only hand willing to cut. The question is not whether the tree can be saved. The question is whether its death will be a mercy or a second shattering. The mask fractures with a sound like splintering bone. Golden light bleeds through the cracks, then darkens. Crimson seeps into the arena's veins. Sulyvahn's face emerges sallow, gaunt, a map of holy fervor and hollow weeping. His eyes burn not with malice, but with the fever of a man who has glimpsed the tree's festering core. The rot is no longer metaphor. It pulses in the air, a sickness that clings to the breath of every priest who once called him brother. He raises a hand. Flames bloom where his fingers curl, not the clean fire of the first flame's dying embers, but a gnawing, blackened heat. The Erdtree's shadow writhes above, its branches shedding golden leaves that crumble to ash midfall. Sulyvahn's voice, when it comes, is a hymn and a dirge. I will burn the tree to save it. The words hang, heavy as the stench of charred wood now thickening the air. The church's faithful recoil. Their pontiff's heresy was never a coup, it was a confession. For years he watched the tree's heart fester, its divinity a hollow crown of compromise and corruption. Madness, perhaps. But what is insight without madness? He saw the truth. To heal the sacred, you must first unmake it. The arena's crimson glow deepens. The Erdtree's rot spreads, yet Sulyvahn presses forward. His strikes now carve patterns into the battlefield sigils of purification or despair. The line blurs. A priest screams as golden light consumes him, then turns to rust. Sulyvahn does not flinch. His purpose is no longer to rule, but to unravel. To ignite the tree's heart and in its flames hope for something new, or nothing. The rot is his answer. The rot is his prayer. The Erdtree's branches scream. The fight is no longer about power. It is about whether the end will be a mercy, or a beginning dressed as ruin. The altar's carvings writhe as Sulyvahn falls. His blood, golden as the Erdtree's light, pools into the cracks of the stone. The ritual blade, forged in the age of chaos, trembles in his grip. He drives it not into flesh, but into radiancy, a wound carved into eternity. The Erdtree's glow fractures. For a heartbeat, its light is not gold but blackened amber, a wound mirrored in the sky. What kind of faith demands a god's throat be cut with its own blade? The pontiff's robes dissolve to ash, yet his form holds, a silhouette of sacrifice etched in dying fire. The tree's branches, once screaming, now weep. Sap like molten tears drips from their limbs, each drop a fading star. The corruption does not flee, it pauses, as if recalling a name it once forgot. Placidusac's age ended with a storm, but this is quieter. The Elden Ring's vessel, cracked at last, bleeds grace. The Age of Fire was never about flames, it was about the weight of endings. Sulyvahn's heresy was not a coup but a confession, that some crowns must be broken to let the light out. The golden dusk deepens. Mere moments after the blade strikes, the Erdtree's heart begins to mend. The rot retreats, not vanquished but delayed, as if the tree itself consents to this respite. Sulyvahn's face, now a mosaic of light and shadow, does not twist in triumph. His eyes, were they ever closed, hold the stillness of a man who has seen the end of all roads and chosen the narrowest. What does it mean to kill a god to save it? The camera pulls back. The altar is a crater now, the blade a splinter in the world's ribs. The Erdtree stands dimmed, its corruption hushed but not healed. The Age of Fire fades, and all endings are earned through grief. Sulyvahn's name will be cursed, then forgotten. But in this moment, as the first stars pierce the black and amber sky, the heretic is a saint. His sin was love too vast for a throne. The Pontiff's blade was no act of ambition. He sought not a crown, but a Pyrea final right to purge the Erdtree's festering core. The church's hymns of divine order rang hollow in his ears. Their god was a leech, its light a slow poison. To save the tree, he had to become its executioner. The coup was a requiem. Sulyvahn's heresy burned the script of sainthood, that gods cannot be reformed, only unmade. The Erdtree's heart, a nexus of stolen life force, could not heal. It could only stall the collapse. Each golden tear he shed bought moments, not salvation. The Age of Fire was never meant to endure. Its fading is the price of truth. The church called him a usurper. They clung to their gilded lies, deaf to the rot in their psalms. But the heretic knew, divinity is a bargain struck in shadows. Even the highest branches bear blight. His death was no failure, it was a reckoning, a benediction. The Erdtree falls, not because it was weak, because it was made. And all made things die. Sulyvahn's final act whispers to the player, to inherit this world you must first unmake its chains. The path forward is written in ash. The burial watchdogs lament asterisk, the Erdtree accepts, some rejects, others asterisk whispers Sulyvahn's heresy back to life. His blade, the Golden Order's sacred sword, became a scalpel to excise corruption. Not a weapon of conquest, but of confession. He saw the trees rot as a wound needing amputation. The church called it madness, they were right. Yet in that madness burned clarity. To save a dying god, you must first kill it. His silhouette, cloaked in regal decay, mirrors the watchdog's own exile. Both stood at the threshold of divine failure. One tried to sever the heart, the other guards its remnants, pleading for the tree to asterisk choose asterisk who lives. The same sorrow binds them, the same unanswerable question, does grace flow from the tree or the void it starves? Sulyvahn's coup was no rebellion, it was a requiem. A final, futile hymn to a god too broken for mercy, the sword he wielded. It reappears in the hands of those who dare to ask, when does devotion become a dirge? The answer bleeds eternal in the Erdtree's silent, selective embrace. The Pontiff's blade was no act of ambition. He sought not a crown, but a Pyrea final right to purge the Erdtree's festering core. The church's hymns of divine order rang hollow in his ears. Their god was a leech, its light a slow poison. To save the tree, he had to become its executioner. The coup was a requiem. Sulyvahn's heresy burned the script of sainthood, that gods cannot be reformed, only unmade. The Erdtree's heart, a nexus of stolen life force, could not heal. It could only stall the collapse. Each golden tear he shed bought moments, not salvation. The Age of Fire was never meant to endure. Its fading is the price of truth. The church called him a usurper. They clung to their gilded lies, deaf to the rot in their psalms. But the heretic knew, divinity is a bargain struck in shadows. Even the highest branches bear blight. His death was no failure, it was a reckoning, a benediction. The Erdtree falls, not because it was weak, because it was made. And all made things die. Sulyvahn's final act whispers to the player, to inherit this world you must first unmake its chains. The path forward is written in ash. What did Sulyvahn see in the Erdtree's heart that turned holy man into heretic? Not power but rot, a festering core no prayer could cleanse. The hunter, an outsider thrust into this by a dying order, now bears its failed crusade. The tarnished's role awaits, not savior but